Hello everyone and welcome to another tutorial on configuring your HMI. In today's session, we'll be exploring C language and macros to enhance functionality in HMI projects. To demonstrate the use of macros, I've created a simple example where certain buttons and functions interact to control water distribution in a village. The scenario is as follows. A remote village relies on an external organization to supply water. The village has multiple sections, each with its own cistern, which provides water to individual houses. To receive water, the villagers must first press a button to request water from the organization, then press another button to transfer the water to the village's cistern, and finally, press a corresponding button to distribute the water to specific houses. Now, let's configure the HMI to visualize and control this process. To set up our HMI, we need a bar chart to represent the water level in the village, meters to display the water level in the village cistern and houses, pipelines to indicate the water flow, numeric value displays for real-time readings, and buttons to trigger water flow. We start by adding the bar chart by going to Components, selecting Bar and Meter, and choosing the Bar Chart option. We then set the minimum and maximum values, assign the address type and number, configure additional settings if necessary, and place it in the project. Next, we add meters by selecting a meter for the village cistern and sector meters for individual houses. Again, we go to Components, select Bar and Meter, choose the required meter, define the limits, addresses, and address numbers, and customize any additional graphics as needed. Now that we've placed all components, we can organize the interface by adding static text to describe charts, numeric value displays to show exact water levels, and pipelines via the Components menu, where we can set direction, diameter, size, and address mapping for dynamic updates. To automate water distribution, we will use a macro. We begin by creating a macro through the Macro menu, selecting Create Macro, which opens a pop-up window. We then define alias names for each address, making them easier to call in the code. The macro uses three key functions: getBit, which reads a single bit from a designated address; getWord, which reads a 16-bit word from a specified address; and setWord, which writes a 16-bit value to a register. The getBit function allows reading one bit from a specified register address, and its return value is a Boolean representing the bit value. The getWord function reads a word register, similar to the getBit function, and its return value is an unsigned short type representing the word value. Lastly, the setWord function writes a 16-bit value to a designated word register, and its return value is an integer, where 0 indicates failure and 1 indicates success. The macro starts by including the macro.h header file and defining the macro main function, where several Boolean and integer variables are initialized by reading specific memory locations. These variables determine conditions for filling tanks and distributing water. The logic checks whether water levels are within limits before transferring. If a house requests water, the macro updates the respective tank levels accordingly, while ensuring that water does not exceed 100% capacity. The values are continuously read and updated in real time. Once the macro is written, we compile it by clicking Compile to check for errors. Next, we open the Modify window and navigate to the Timer tab, where we add a timer to control macro execution. In the Timer function, we select Run Macro to integrate it into the project. Finally, we run the simulation by clicking Offline Simulation to test the setup and verify that button presses trigger the correct water flow. And there you have it. That's how you integrate macro code into an HMI project for automated water distribution. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.